Hello guys and welcome to our next example in Visual Basic, which is the OpenFileDialog. So what is OpenFileDialog? OpenFileDialog actually helps you to browse through the folders and select files in your folders and in your directory so that the user can actually choose to do what he wants to do or with the file selected. So this is an example of the open file dialog, and in this case what we're going to do with this open file dialog is we're just going to give it the name of open file dialog, and we're going to give it the filter option, what kind of file that we will be using. In this example we will be using the image file, that is the .jpg file, and we're going to use it in this example. So the example would be select the file and display it on the picture box. That is the example that we will be using it for the open file dialog. And the reason why I use the picture box is because that in the previous tutorial we have already covered on how to actually use and display a file in a picture box. So now we're going to do it the same thing but with the open file dialog. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to be needing a button to display the picture whenever the button is actually being clicked, and of course it will also goes into the browser and choose the image that we want to display on our picture box. And next is the picture box, which I'm going to be putting it here. And usually it depends on the preference of you, how do you actually want your picture box to be, but what I would do is I would just put the size mode as stretch image, and I would actually change the back color to white, and also I would actually want to change the border style to fixed 3D so that it actually gives much more professional appearance to it. And of course I also need to make sure that I want to make sure my picture box anchored on all four sides and with the button as well. And there's a reason why I actually do this. This is because uh, whenever you have already anchored your controls on the form, when it's actually kind of easy for you to actually just do this move, and you can actually try kind of resize it at any size you want. So that's the reason why I do some changes on the anchor. Okay, and next is of course I need to put in the open file dialog. This is, you can find this in the toolbox. You just need to click the open file dialog and drag it on the form, and you can see here the open file dialog has a name, which is the open file dialog 1. Next, go into the button, double click it and go into the code, and since we have the open file dialog, what you can do is you just go into open file dialog 1 and we define the title name first, which is the search for image, and this is in string format. And the next is you need to put in the filter option, and also this is defined as string, which is we're going to put it as image file, and this is where you have to define what kind of file that you want to display. So for in this case we're going to put it .jpg, so I'm just going to put it a bar here, and then you put an asterisk sign .jpg, and it really depends on whether you actually write it uppercase or lowercase. It still reads the type of file and it displays it. Once we have this, this is actually the component of defining the open file box. Next is what if we have selected the box. So this is when we use the if and else set statement. So we just put that if the open file dialog, which is actually being showed, the dialog is actually being showed, is equals to the dialog result is okay. That means we have selected the file. So we just need to put in the dialog result dot okay, then the statement goes into an if. So in this an if statement is the action that you actually want to do. So I'm not going to do anything on this. I'm just going to start first and see that the open file dialog is actually being shown. When I click the button, and you can see here that the open file dialog is actually being shown, and this is the example of the image file that I want to choose. So we have the title here, search for image, and we have the image filter Of course, in this case we only have one, which is the .jpg, so it just doesn't really show. So we have the image filter one here, and we're just gonna cancel and close this first. Now we need to display the image into the picture box. So to do that, we need to have a variable that actually gets the name of the image. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna put dim picture as string, and next is what I'm gonna do is just gonna put picture box one dot image is actually equals to image from file, and we have to put in the file name as a string. So what we need to do is we have to put the OpenFileDialog to the variable of the picture. So we're just going to put picture is equals to OpenFileDialog, and since we are selecting the file, we can actually use the OpenFileDialog function here and put file name, and this file name is in the form of string that actually link to the variable for picture, and we just need to put in the picture here. We put in the string picture here, and this is how we can actually do it. Let's see whether if this thing works. So I have the form here, I click the button, my open file dialog is here. I'm just going to select this picture and click open, and my picture is actually being displayed. And if you click the next button, and if you want to display another picture, and another picture is being displayed. So this is a simple example of using OpenFileDialog to display a picture. And in my next tutorial, I will be using the same OpenFileDialog in displaying the names of files. And later on, once we done that, then we will actually go into that. Thank you for watching, and please click the subscribe button to view more content on the Visual Basic example. Thank you.